Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the live studios in Radha Lane, Houston, Texas, just down the pathway from Sri Sri Radha and Nila Madhava's beautiful, gorgeous temple forms. We're reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. We're associating with Prabhupada every day. Hare Krishna, hey, Michael Haribo, nice to see you. The holy name of the Lord, the Maha Mantra especially, is dripping with nectar. It is Krishna himself. And the Srimad-Bhagavatam, as we'll hear from Sanatana Goswami's prayer to the Bhagavatam itself, is a 18,000 verse mantra, which is none different than Krishna. So by hearing the Bhagavatam and hearing the holy name of the Lord, we get to know Krishna intimately. And then our love can come. If you want to love somebody, the deeper you know them, the deeper your love can go. So this is the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Sanatana Goswami, not long after he heard all about devotional service and the science of Krishna consciousness directly from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself for 2 months straight, composed this prayer in glorification of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. It's called Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. By studying it, by hearing it with faith and love and without argument, one can actually taste what the Srimad-Bhagavatam is and how important it is and how urgent it is that we absorb our hearts in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And this is Srimad-Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram, goes like this. Sarva Shastabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwan Duditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madhika Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Man Nishtadagamad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin atini chochata kada hanamun chagadachin mam premna rit kantayospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, we reached the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, which symbolically is the face of the Lord, the smiling face of the Lord. from the first canto, the feet, and all the way up, working up to the thighs and the midsection and the chest, and then finally the 10th canto is the smiling face of the Lord, the pastimes of Sri Krishna, the Summum Bonum, the Swayam Bhagavan, the Swayam Rupa, the source of all other forms, the source that has no other source. And we've reached the 3rd chapter, and we begin the 3rd chapter today, the birth of Lord Krishna, even though he's the unborn. As described in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Hari, in his original form, appeared as Vishnu so that his father and mother could understand that their son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they were afraid of Kamsa, when the Lord appeared as an ordinary child, they took him to Gokula, the home of Nanda Maharaj. Mother Devaki, being fully transcendental, Satchidananda, does not belong to this material world. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared with 4 hands, as if born from her womb. Upon seeing the Lord in that Vishnu form, Vasudeva was struck with wonder and in transcendental happiness. He and Devaki mentally gave 10,000 cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Vasudeva then offered prayers to the Lord, addressing him as the Supreme Person, Parabrahman, the Super Soul, who is beyond duality and who is internally and externally all-pervading. The Lord, the cause of all causes, is beyond material existence, although he is the creator of this material world. When he enters this world as Paramatma, he is the all-pervading. He is all-pervading. Andantadasta, Paramanu, Jayantadastam. Yet he is transcendentally situated. For the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world, the Lord appears as the Guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Thus Vasudeva offered prayers full of meaning to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devaki followed her husband by offering prayers describing the transcendental nature of the Lord. Fearing Kamsa and desiring that atheistic and materialistic non-devotees not know that the Lord had appeared, she prayed that he withdraw his transcendental 4-armed form and appear like an ordinary child with 2 hands. Whoops. I just went to the end of something. Sorry. The Lord reminded Vasudeva and Devaki of 2 other incarnations in which he had appeared as their son. He had appeared as Prishnigarbha and Vamanadev, and now this was the 3rd time he was appearing as the son of Devaki to fulfill their desire. The Lord then decided to leave the residence of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison house of Kamsa, and just at that time, Yogamaya took birth as the daughter of Yashoda. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, Vasudeva was able to leave the prison house and save the child from the hands of Kamsa. When Vasudeva brought Krishna to the house of Nanda Maharaj, he saw that by Yogamaya's arrangement, Yashoda, as well as everyone else, was deeply asleep. Thus he exchanged the babies, taking Yogamaya from Yashoda's lap and placing Krishna there instead. Then Vasudeva returned to his own place, having taken Yogamaya as his daughter. He placed Yogamaya on Devaki's bed and prepared to be a prisoner, as before. In Gokula, Yashoda could not understand whether she had given birth to a male or a female child. Texts 1 to 5. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashwini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants full of flowers and leaves pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos, swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmanas engaging in ritualistic ceremonies ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmanas, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his birth and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also prominent, because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under the direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who is in fact birthless. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, all the directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky and on the surface of the earth, in all towns and villages and pasturing grounds, and within the mind of everyone. There were signs of good fortune. The trees were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forests began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers and greatly pleasing the sense of touch. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offering sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the house of Brahmanas. But now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas had been very distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations in the sky of transcendental sounds proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the occasion of Lord Krishna's birth, seasonal changes took place throughout the entire universe. Krishna was born during the month of September, yet it appeared like springtime. The atmosphere, however, was very cool, although not chilly, and the rivers and reservoirs appeared just as they would in Sharat, the fall. Lotuses and lilies blossomed during the day, but although Krishna appeared at 12 o'clock midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in bloom, and thus the wind blowing at that time was full of fragrance. Because of Kamsa's disturbances, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies had almost stopped. The Brahmanas and saintly persons could not execute the Vedic rituals with peaceful minds. But now the Brahmanas were very pleased to perform their daily ritualistic ceremonies undisturbed. The business of the Asuras is to disturb the Suras, the devotees, and Brahmanas. But at the time of Krishna's appearance, these devotees and Brahmanas were undisturbed. Text 6. The Kinnaras and Gandharvas began to sing auspicious songs. The Siddhas and Charanas offered auspicious prayers, and the Vidyadharas, along with the Apsaras, began to dance in jubilation. Text 7 and 8. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 537, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhabitabis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This verse indicates that Krishna and his entourage are of the same spiritual potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's father, his mother, his friends, the cowherd boys, and the cows are all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Vimohana Leela. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the forms of many cowherd boys and calves, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devakyam, Devarupinyam, Vishnu Sarva Guhashrayaha. At the time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea, there were clouds in the sky which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who was residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon in the sky of the eastern on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear as a full moon. To welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. Instead of Deva Rupinyam, some texts of Srimad-Bhagavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyam. In either case, the meaning is that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Satchidananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchidananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchidananda Vigraha, appeared from the womb of Devaki. Those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, janma karma chame divyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, however, the Lord's birth is never ordinary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated within the core of everyone's heart as Antaryami, the Supersoul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, oops, I did it again, sorry. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he was also able to appear outside her body. One of the we'll get a little rhythm into the reading. One of the 12 great personalities is Bhishmadev, Swayambhur, Naradak Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilo Manu, Prahlado, Janako, Bhishma. Can I say we're still in the material world, there are disturbances. We have to go through them without being disturbed. Cheers.
Water break.
It's the conch shell of Maya, trying to take our minds away from this nectar, calling us to use the oil that train is carrying from one place to another. It's mainly oil. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 1942, Bhishma, the great authority to be followed by devotees, says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet although the sun may be on the heads of millions and millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupashyatak, Ishupanishad 7. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by his inconceivable potency. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of Devaki, he appeared as her child. According to the Vishnu Purana, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnava Toshini, the Lord appeared like the sun, Anugrahasaya. The Brahma Samhita 535 confirms that the Lord is situated even within the atom. Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantadastam. He is situated in Mathura, in Vaikuntha, and in the core of the heart. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart or the womb of Devaki. Nor did he appear like an ordinary human child, although he seemed to do so in order to bewilder asuras like Kamsa. The asuras wrongly think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child and passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asuric conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san. Bhagavad Gita 4:6. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord, who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Godhead, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Texts 9 and 10. Vasudeva then saw the newborn child, who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes, and who bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gadha, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Srivats, and on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like a dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. Purport. To support the word adbhutam, meaning wonderful, the decorations and opulences of the newborn child are fully described. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 530, Barhavatang sang asitam buddhasundarangam. The hue of the Lord's beautiful form resembles the blackish color of dense clouds. Asita means blackish, and ambuddha means cloud. It is clear from the word Chaturbhujam that Krishna first appeared with 4 hands as Lord Vishnu. No ordinary child in human society has ever been born with 4 hands, and when is a child born with fully grown hair? The descent of the Lord therefore is completely distinct from the birth of an ordinary child. The Vaidurya gem, which sometimes appears bluish, sometimes yellow, and sometimes red, is available in Vaikuntha Loka. The Lord's helmet and earrings were decorated with this particular gem. Text 11. When Vasudeva saw his extraordinary son, his eyes were struck with wonder. In transcendental jubilation, he mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the Brahmanas as a transcendental festival. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has analyzed the wonder of Vasudeva upon seeing his extraordinary child. Vasudeva was shivering with wonder to see a newborn child decorated so nicely with valuable garments and gems. He could immediately understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had appeared not as an ordinary child, but in his original, fully decorated, 4-hand form. The first wonder was that the Lord was not afraid to appear within the prison house of Kamsa, where Vasudeva and Devaki were interned. Second, although the Lord, the Supreme Transcendence, is all-pervading, he had appeared from the womb of Devaki. The third point of wonder, therefore, was that a child could take birth from the womb so nicely decorated. Fourth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Vasudeva's worshipable deity, yet had taken birth as his son. For all these reasons, Vasudeva was transcendently jubilant, and he wanted to perform a festival, as Kshatriyas do, to celebrate the birth of a child. But because of his imprisonment, he was unable to do it externally, and therefore he performed the festival within his mind. This was just as good. If one cannot externally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can serve the Lord within one's mind, since the activities of the mind are as good as those of the other senses. This is called the non-dual or absolute situation, Advaya Gyan. People generally perform ritualistic ceremonies for the birth of a child. Why then should Vasudeva not have performed such a ceremony when the Supreme Lord appeared as his son? Text 12. O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of King Bharat, Vasudeva could understand that this child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. Having concluded this without a doubt, he became fearless. Bowing down with folded hands and concentrating his attention, he began to offer prayers to the child, who illuminated his birthplace by his natural effulgent influence. Purport. Struck with such great wonder, Vasudeva now concentrated his attention on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understanding the influence of the Supreme Lord, he was surely fearless, since he understood that the Lord had appeared to give him protection. Gatabi Prabhava Vit. Understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present, he appropriately offered prayers as follows. Text 13. Vasudeva said, My Lord, you are the Supreme Person, beyond material existence. You are the Super Soul, and you are the Super Soul. Your form can be perceived by transcendental knowledge, by which you can be understood as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I now understand your position perfectly. Purport. Within Vasudeva's heart, affection for his son and knowledge of the Supreme Lord's transcendental nature both awakened. In the beginning, Vasudeva thought, such a beautiful child has been born, but now Kamsa will come and kill him. But when he understood that this was not an ordinary child, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became fearless. Regarding his son as the Supreme Lord, wonderful in everything, he began offering prayers appropriate for the Supreme Lord. Completely free from fear of Kamsa's atrocities, he accepted the child simultaneously as an object of affection and as an object of worship by prayers. Text 14. My Lord, you are the same person who in the beginning created this material world by his personal external energy. After the creation of this world of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, you appeared to have entered it, although in fact you have not. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.4, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains, Bhumyarapo nalo vayu kammano buddhireva cha ahankara itiya me bina prakriti ashtada. This material world of three modes of nature, sattva-gun, rajagun, and tamaguna, is a composition of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all of which are energies coming from Krishna. Yet Krishna, being always transcendental, is aloof from this material world. Those who are not in pure knowledge think that Krishna is a product of matter, and that his body is material, like ours. Avajananti mam mudha. In fact, however, Krishna is always aloof from this material world. In the Vedic literature, we find the creation described in relationship to Mahavishnu, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 335. Eko pyasao rachayitum jagadanta kotim yat chakyarasa jagadanta chaya yat antaha andantadasta paramanu chayantadastam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primal Lord, Govinda, the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion as Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature. Then he enters every universe as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And he enters all the elements, including every atom of matter, as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable, both in the universes and in the individual atoms. Govinda is partially exhibited as Antaryami, the Supersoul, who enters this material world, Andantadasta, and who is also within the atom. The Brahma Samhita 548 further says, Yasyaikani vashitakala matavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadantanataha Vishnur mahansa ihayasya kala vishesho Govinda Maripurusham Tamaham Bhajami. This verse describes Mahavishnu as a plenary expansion of Krishna. Mahavishnu lies on the causal ocean, and when he exhales, millions of Brahmandas, or universes, come from the pores of his body. Then, when Mahavishnu inhales, all these Brahmandas disappear. Thus, the millions of Brahmandas, controlled by the Brahmas and other demigods, come and go in this material world through the breathing of Mahavishnu. Foolish persons think that when Krishna appears as the son of Vasudeva, he is limited like an ordinary child. But Vasudeva was aware that although the Lord had appeared as his son, the Lord had not entered Devaki's womb and then come out. Rather, the Lord was already there. The Supreme Lord is all-pervading, present within and without. Pravishta eva bhavyase. He only seemed to have entered the womb of Devaki and to have now appeared as Vasudeva's child. The expression of this knowledge by Vasudeva indicates that Vasudeva knew how these events had taken place. Vasudeva was certainly a devotee of the Lord in full knowledge, and we must learn from devotees like him. The Bhagavad Gita 4:34 therefore recommends Tadvidi panipatina pariprashnena sevaya upatekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Vasudeva begot the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet he was in full knowledge of how the Supreme Lord appears and disappears. He was therefore a Tattvadarshi, a seer of the truth, because he personally saw how the Supreme Absolute Truth appeared as his son. Vasudeva was not in ignorance, thinking that because the Supreme Godhead had appeared as his son, the Lord had become limited. The Lord is unlimitedly existing and all-pervading, inside and outside. Thus there is no question of his appearance or disappearance. Text 15 through 17. The Mahat Tattva, the total material energy, is undivided. But because of the material modes of nature, it appears to separate into earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Because of the living entity, Jiva Bhuta, these separated energies combine to make the cosmic manifestation visible. But in fact, Before the creation of the cosmos, the total energy is already present. Therefore, the total material energy never actually enters the creation. Similarly, although you are perceived by our senses because of your presence, you cannot be perceived by the senses, nor experienced by the mind or words. Avan, manasa gochara. With our senses we can perceive some things, but not everything. For example, we can use our eyes to see, but not to taste. Consequently, you are beyond perception by the senses. Although in touch with the modes of material nature, you are unaffected by them. You are the prime factor in everything, the all-pervading, undivided Supersoul. For you, therefore, there is no external or internal. You never entered the womb of Devaki, rather, you existed there already. Purport. The same understanding is explained by the Lord Himself in the Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Maya tatamidang sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te shrivastitaha. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not perceivable through the gross material senses. It is said that Lord Sri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service, under proper guidance, is he revealed. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 538, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. One can always see the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda within oneself and outside oneself, if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude toward Him. Thus, for people in general, He is not visible. In the above-mentioned verse from the Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is said that although He is all-pervading, everywhere present, He is not conceivable by the material senses. But actually, although we cannot see Him, everything is resting in Him. As discussed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of His two different energies, the superior, spiritual energy, and the inferior, material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet one should not conclude that because He is spread all over, He has lost His personal existence. To refute such arguments, the Lord says, I am everywhere, and everything is in me, but still I am aloof. For example, a king heads a government which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power, but still one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. That is a crude example. Similarly, all the manifestations that we see and everything that exists, both in this material world and in the spiritual world, are resting on the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by the diffusion of His different energies. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, He is everywhere present by His personal representation. By His personal representation, the diffusion of His different energies. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the whole cosmic manifestation simply by His glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. To eradicate this argument, Vasudeva said, My dear Lord, it is not very wonderful that you appeared within the womb of Devaki, for the creation is also made in that way. You were lying in the causal ocean as Mahavishnu, and by your breathing, innumerable universes came into existence. You then entered into each of the universes as Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Then again, you expanded yourself as Shirodakashai Vishnu, and entered into the heart of all living entities, and entered even within the atoms. Therefore, your entrance into the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appeared to have entered, but you were simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but a combination of the 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside of the body. Similarly, although you appear as a child in the womb of Devaki, you are also existing outside. You are always in your abode, but still you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms. One has to understand your appearance with great intelligence, because the material energy is also emanating from you. You are the original source of the material energy, just as the sun is the source of the sunshine. The sunshine cannot cover the sun globe, nor can the material energy, being an emanation from you, cover you. You appear to be in the 3 modes of material nature, but actually the 3 modes of material energy cannot cover you. This is understood by the highly intellectual philosophers. In other words, although you appear to be within the material energy, you are never covered by it. We hear from the Vedic version that the Supreme Brahman exhibits his effulgence, and therefore everything is illuminated. We can understand from the Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyoti, or the Brahman effulgence, emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord. And from the Brahman effulgence, all creation takes place. It is further stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is the support of the Brahman effulgence. Originally, he is the root cause of everything. But persons who are less intelligent think that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes within this material world, he accepts material qualities. Such conclusions are not mature, but are made by the less intelligent. Text 18. One who considers his visible body, which is a product of the 3 modes of nature, to be independent of the soul, is unaware of the basis of existence, and therefore he is a rascal. Those who are learned have rejected his conclusion, because one can understand through full discussion that with no basis in the soul, the visible body and senses would be insubstantial. Read this is so good. Those who are learned have rejected his conclusion. Let's read the first part. One who considers his visible body, which is a product of the 3 modes of nature, to be independent of the soul, is unaware of the basis of existence, and therefore he is a rascal. Those who are learned have rejected his conclusion, because one can understand through full discussion that with no basis in the soul, the visible body and senses would be insubstantial. Nonetheless, although his conclusion has been rejected, a foolish person considers it a reality. Purport. Without the basic principle of the soul, the body cannot be produced. So-called scientists have tried in many ways to produce a living body in their chemical laboratories, but no one has been able to do it, because unless the spirit soul is present, a body cannot be prepared from material elements. Since scientists are now enamored of theories about the chemical composition of the body, we have challenged many scientists to make even a small egg. The chemicals in eggs can be found very easily. There is a white substance and a yellow substance covered by a shell, and modern scientists should very easily be able to duplicate all this. But even if they were to prepare such an egg and put it in an incubator, this man-made chemical egg would not produce a chicken. The soul must be added. The soul must be added, because there is no question of a chemical composition for life. Those who think that life can exist without the soul have therefore been described here as abuddha, foolish rascals. Again, there are those who reject the body, regarding it as insubstantial. They are of the same category of fools. One can neither reject the body nor accept it as insubstantial, as substantial. The substance is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and both the body and the soul are energies of the Supreme Godhead, as described by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 7:4 and 5. Bhumir apo nalo vayu kammano buddhir evacha ahankara itiya me bina prakritir ashtada apariyam itastwanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayidam daryate jagat. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Besides this inferior energy, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mine, which consists of all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. The body, therefore, has a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as the soul does. Since both of them are energies of the Lord, neither of them is false, because they come from the reality. One who does not know this secret of life is described as abuddha. According to the Vedic injunctions, I tadatmam idam sarvam kalavidam brahma. Everything is the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, both the body and the soul are Brahman, since matter and spirit emanate from Brahman. Not knowing the conclusions of the Vedas, some people accept the material nature as substance, and others accept the spirit soul as substance. But actually, Brahman is the substance. Brahman is the cause of all causes. The ingredients and the immediate cause of this manifested material world are Brahman, and we cannot make the ingredients of this world independent of Brahman. Furthermore, since the ingredients and the immediate cause of this material manifestation are Brahman, both of them are truth, Satya. There is no validity to the expression Brahma Satyam, Jagan, Mithya. The world is not false. Jnanis reject this world, and foolish persons accept this world as reality, and in this way they are both misguided. Although the body is not as important as the soul, we cannot say that it is false. Yet the body is temporary, and only foolish materialistic persons who do not have full knowledge of the soul regard the temporary body as reality and engage in decorating this body. Both of these pitfalls, rejection of the body as false and acceptance of the body as all in all, can be avoided when one is fully situated in Krishna consciousness. If we regard this world as false, we fall into the category of asuras. who say that this world is unreal, with no foundation and no God in control. Asatyam, apratishtam te, jagat ahur, anishwaram. As described in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is the conclusion of demons. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. What a purport. Okay, we'll stop our reading here for the night. It's 5:30, that's an hour. And we'll have our open mic session where anything that you heard stuck in your mind that you want to either reflect upon or have further discussion upon or question, please be our guest. Well, she's first, and then you. Rati.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So we heard tonight about the Lord appearing in the night from the heart of Devaki with the 4 hands. And I was wondering, would you recommend for us as devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, would it be a proper meditation to at times to meditate on the fact that the soul is in the heart and the super soul also, that we are like nearby, and should we visualize as we chant, for example, that I'm the soul and the super soul is next to me, or does that turn us into like yogis
it's revealed knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's revealed knowledge. The knowledge is coming to us through the purports of Srila Prabhupada, through the acharyas, from Krishna. So when we chant the holy name, we should absorb our minds in the sound of the holy name, and then these things will be revealed. We don't have to force something. We don't have to force a meditation, about these things. If you hear these things regularly and sincerely and honestly, without speculating on it, without trying to imagine the way something is or something isn't, then according to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, those things will be revealed to you and you will see Krishna in them, in these concepts. You will be able to visualize, or rather, they will be revealed to you.
But could you say sincere? We have to hear it sincerely and regularly. So the fact that we want to remember Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, the fact that we are endeavoring to remember what we have heard, could that not be an aspect of sincerity?
It will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
It will come to you.
You don't have to
you don't have to force. The idea is not to force.
Right.
It will come to you, these realizations. If you keep hearing and absorb in the hearing, and then when you chant, these things will come to you. These thoughts will come to you, but they'll come in the proper way, in the proper perspective. There's no danger. There's no danger of, speculating about it and coming up with a conclusion that may not be completely proper. Maybe that's why we're inquiring.
Yes. So do I understand properly that actually if we simply hold on to the hearing process and the chanting, everything else will come from that?
Yeah, the hearing brings the knowledge.
Yeah.
And the chanting purifies the heart.
Mm-hmm. So those two would be like the tools. That's all we need to focus on, and then the others will grow from there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thakur Haridas.
The last topic that you were just discussing, I just read recently, I think it was Govindadasi asked Srila Prabhupada, when we chant, what should we think and what should we do? And Srila Prabhupada said, you don't have to think anything or do anything, just hear and chant.
Yeah.
And I had an experience actually in the old days when I was surrendered. And At that time, I was doing a oil painting mall for the temple in Baltimore, which entailed me living in Concord. Concord is that a city?
Yes, Concord.
Anyway, I don't think that was the name of the city actually, but it was a city in New Jersey, I think. And there was a Concord Mall, and then there was a Concord Park nearby. So I was alone there, doing this oil painting mall, and I was giving all the money to the temple. And in the morning, I would go to the Brandywine Park to chant my rounds, and then I'd have to go open the mall like at 10 or something and close it at night. So I was there all day.
Mm.
And I was chanting, and I had some very ecstatic experiences just by chanting in the park. One time I was chanting in the park, and I was thinking how nice it would be if Krishna and the gopis were here. And just at that time, I saw there's a rusty, can and some broken beer bottle, and I was thinking, but they couldn't come here because they would cut their feet on this. So this is not the proper place for them to come. And another time, I was just walking up the hill there was a road going up and then a big parking lot. And I was thinking that Krishna is in my heart, and he's in the heart of that bird over there. And if he wanted to, he could make that bird fly in circles around my head. And that's what happened. The bird just flew around, and I was just chanting and turning around and I just thought, wow, Krishna revealed. He's hearing, because that never happened to me any other time. So that's always been like Krishna confirmed something to me personally. Anyway, that was just a response to what she was.
That's revealed knowledge. That's my point.
Yeah, revealed. It just came.
The knowledge is revealed from the super soul to the soul within the heart.
Mm.
And it's stimulated or awakened, or he becomes interested in giving you these things when someone shows a sincere, intense, sincere desire to be with him. And that's demonstrated by how frequently and how intent and how we absorb our minds in the mantra.
I had a question this last purport. I was talking about substance. There was once it's really a question. One time I heard Prabhupada said something like, something is substance and something is category. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What is substance and what is category?
Krishna is the substance, and the categories are the different energies, his different energies. Krishna is the substance, and his energies are different in different categories. There's the marginal energy, and there's the internal energy, and there's the external energy. And all the energies that we see and experience, and including ourselves, are energies of the substance. And some of the energy, some of the substance, due to his supreme mystic power, transforms into separated energy, appears to be separated from him. Just like the sun shines on the water and creates the cloud, the sun is actually creating the cloud, and then this cloud comes over us and then covers the sun. So it's the substance, it's himself, that's the energy of the substance is covering our vision of the substance. But it can't cover the substance. It can only cover our limited little vision.
It can cover us.
Yeah. Another way of looking at that, I heard Srila Prabhupada analyze it like this, that the creation of this was mentioned also in the purports, that the creation of the body is constructed within the womb of the mother. So the energy that the material energy uses to construct the body within the womb of the mother is already there in the body of the mother. And even when it's all constructed, some of that energy is still outside of the body. So similarly, the whole material cosmic manifestation is transformation of the energies, and some of those energies stay outside of the, in other words, it's not all of Krishna's external energy that's used to create the cosmic manifestation. There's a stock of it outside of the creation. So like that, everything is transformed. It's transformations from subtle to grosser, to grosser, to grosser. And each one of the grosser elements contains different qualities. So the qualities, the sense perception, and the sense objects, and the ability to perceive them, and the ability to act within them, they're all transformations of Krishna's energy. But the mistake is, when we're bewildered, is to think that that means everything is Krishna. And therefore I can worship this and get the same result as when I worship the deity in the temple. That's the Mayavad conception. Category is not the substance at the same time. It's simultaneously different.
Yeah, Ravindra Swarup always quoted, everything is Krishna, or what is it? Krishna is everything, but nothing is Krishna save and except his original primordial personality.
Yes. And his personal expansions. Shanksha.
Somebody here?
Prana.
I heard about how Prabhupada had a sentence that how all creation takes place from Krishna's Brahman effulgence. And I was curious what precisely that means.
It means that the Brahman effulgence transforms into the material energy. The undifferentiated material energy.
Okay.
But it isn't in terms of time and space. It isn't in terms of there was once not and then there was one. It's eternal. The material energy is eternal. But it is a transformation of that eternal spiritual energy, the Brahmajyoti. The Brahman effulgence.
Thanks, that makes sense now. One other question.
Just like the sun shines and then creates a form within the sunshine, within the, like that.
There was also this point about how Krishna's inside and outside are non-different. And what that means to me is that Krishna's body is Krishna's soul. There's no difference.
Yeah.
And
it's Satchidananda. We're spirit souls, Satchidananda, and we're covered by earth and water and fire and air and all the obnoxious things that are created, by the combination of those energies. But Krishna he's not embodied, but neither are we embodied. Therefore it says that when we go back to the spiritual world, we get I think it was actually mentioned in one of the purports, that Yashoda has a body in same category as Krishna's, and therefore Krishna could appear from that body. You cannot become the mother of God in the material world unless you're completely pure, unless your body is spiritual.
So her milk would also be spiritual.
Excuse me?
Her milk that she can give to Krishna
Yes.
is also spiritual.
Yes. Well, it becomes transformed by Krishna drinking it. Like when Krishna took the breast milk of Devaki, and the souls that took her milk before were liberated by that milk, because that Krishna took that milk. Because spiritual energy is not like material energy. It's not the same.
So like the blood on the head of Lord Nityananda, it's
Not blood.
ordinary
It's not blood.
What is it like?
It's a manifestation of his compassion. Yes, it does look like blood to us. It does look like blood to us.
But he doesn't need to have blood in order for his spiritual body.
No, that's pastime.
Okay.
He agrees, when Krishna comes to the material world, he agrees to act as if he is under the laws of material nature, to be able to walk among us and act and do all the things that human beings do. Therefore, his name is, what is that word? Almost like humans, something Manusha. We heard it the other day.
Maya Manusha.
Maya Manusha. Therefore, he's Maya Manusha. He's human-like. He looks like he's human, but he's not human. All these things are going on without this. Yes.
Guru Maharaj, I have another question in regards to this verse in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says that I give intelligence. I'm situated in the heart of all living beings and I give them the intelligence, how they come to me. So I was wondering if someone has a certain IQ, which is different than others. Some are more intelligent, others are less intelligent. Is that, how should we understand that in regards to
It
this?
has nothing to do with
No.
spiritual intelligence.
It's
It's
material.
not material energy.
Okay,
It doesn't have anything to do with the brain.
nothing.
No.
So it wouldn't mean that if someone is making advancement in devotional service that the IQ would also...
Spiritual understanding has nothing to do with the brain.
Right.
It has nothing to do with your material position in the material world.
Okay.
You
So
can be the most uneducated, simple person just sweeping the street, and you can realize Krishna. Whereas a person who is a top philosopher or scientist, academician, has no idea.
So it's not per se that if someone is not doesn't have a high IQ that is a bad karma. Doesn't have to be.
I don't understand it.
In fact, if someone is so-called like stupid, has a low IQ, that's not because it says that if someone
It's all based on what somebody else says is IQ. Who says it's high IQ?
No, it's a system.
Yeah. Who decides that?
I don't know.
Yeah, the material scientists
Mm-hmm.
have come up with it, a psychologist or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Just a concoction. It's a mental concoction.
Okay.
But the soul is beyond those material elements.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. You don't have to worry about that. That's why it says Ma Suchaha.
Right.
And therefore, in the verse, in the end of that purport, this is a wonderful purport. This 1866 is one of the best purports ever. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and just surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless.
We can see that the whole materialistic society is based on such kind of categories of being intelligent, less intelligent, going to this school, that school. It's all based on these kind of concoctions.
Everybody is learning by hearing.
Yeah,
Everyone.
that's true.
From the beginning, we get to come out of our mother's womb. Mommy, what's this? What's that? What's this? It drives the parents crazy. Why? Why is this? Why is that? Why is this? And he gets understanding from hearing. Everyone. On every subject. So it's not any different. It's with spiritual knowledge. Except it's different because the spiritual knowledge is not within the modes of nature. Tat vivit tu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo. It's outside of the guna karma. Therefore, one can get the understanding of the difference between what is fruitive activity and devotional service by that knowledge, by that understanding that comes from Krishna through Shastra and Guru and Sadhu. So by hearing from the Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, submissively and without argument, because that's what these things are, the doubts or the confusions or the difference between material intelligence and spiritual intelligence, the difference between mind and spiritual body senses and spiritual senses and subtle senses. All these things have to be learned from hearing and then acting. You hear, then you act on what you hear, and then you realize. That's science, or a way of looking at science. Simplistic way of looking at it, but it's actually a fact.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. What else? Something from cyberspace?
I have a question.
Yes, please, Thakur, Haridas. About Mother Devaki.
Or, yeah. When it said that she was of the same category, I was thinking, does that mean she's Vishnu Tattva?
No. The Jiva is Satchidananda and Krishna is Satchidananda. But the Jiva is infinitesimal and the Lord is infinite. There's only Satchidananda energy in the spiritual world. In the material world, the material energy, once it transforms from its unmanifested state, gradually transformed into what we see and feel and touch and smell and all of that.
I have another question.
Please.
Several times you said we should hear without argument.
Yes.
So, I like argument. So
No. That doesn't mean that you hear blindly. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. This is described in the third canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Could you get me third canto? Please hold your thought. Hold your thought. I just want to read this first. 25, chapter 25. No, that's part 1. Yeah. 30th verse of the 26th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is describing the creation of intelligence and the functions, the natural functions of intelligence. And it goes like this. Sangshayo ta viparyaso nishjayak smritir evacha swapa it uchate buddher lakshanam brititak britak. Doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory, and sleep, as determined by their different functions, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. This is material intelligence now. Purport. Doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Therefore, the word sangshaya is very important. In order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. But doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that doubting the words of the authority is the cause of destruction. So that's what it means by not arguing. You question to understand, not question to prove the person wrong or to defeat the person or to become superior to the person. That's the principle of material intelligence. In other words, the intelligence guides one, if a person's honest, he uses intelligence. When something comes in front first, you doubt. That's the exhibition of intelligence. And then if it doesn't satisfy, the intelligence is not satisfied, then you move on to the next thing. That is the quest for the truth. But when you come into contact with an actual source of real truth, then the intelligence becomes satisfied. If one continues to doubt on that level, then it's problematic. Then it doesn't allow one to penetrate and actually understand properly.
Hare Krishna, inquire
Yes.
submissively.
Yes.
Sevaya.
We're saved. That's it. That's the difference. It's not done in service, it's done to try to become the master of the other person.
Or defeat them and show how
Yes,
smart you
that's
are.
master. That's becoming the master of the other person. That's overlording it over the other person. On the other hand, if one has spiritual knowledge and has realization, then it's his duty to argue and defeat the illusion or the ignorance and give the light of knowledge. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And that's what we do by hearing from Prabhupada every day like this. It's so wonderful because we don't have to be a big philosopher or a, like she was saying, subtle intelligence or, what's the word? But I'm thinking there's also emotional intelligence. They have EQ. But this is something different. Just now I can't remember the name. Getting old.
Spiritual intelligence.
No, I was thinking something else. Anyway, I got off the track. I got myself off the track. Hare Krishna. I got off the rails.
Yeah, most of what we know, we learn from authorities.
Everything.
And there's no greater authority than Srila Prabhupada.
Exactly. That is the prime purpose of this exercise, of doing this every single day, hearing at least an hour of Prabhupada's purport straight through before we start to discuss. And it has such a different effect than just reading a part of a purport or one thing and then talking about whatever else you have in your mind. If we just stick to the subject, then we become gradually, by the grace of Krishna and Prabhupada, we become enlightened. That's the process. By sangha, by association, we become. It's like our minds become spiritualized, or not spiritualized, becomes dissolved. The material mind and spiritual mind become dissolved, and underneath, the active principle, which is activating those things, become revealed. And then we can understand. The soul has mind, intelligence, senses, everything. But they are Satchidananda. They're not made of earth and water, fire, air, and mind, intelligence, false ego. They're made of Satchidananda. Oh, go ahead. You can do it. But I have an appointment at 6 o'clock, just to let you know, everyone. So I've got 3 more minutes and then I have to stop.
Okay, I'll ask. So, why is the soul so small? I mean, if we are...
Why don't you ask him?
Is it one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's it then. Hare Krishna. But really, that's all?
It's Krishna is soul, conscious living being, sentient being, and he's infinite. And the parts and parcels are infinitesimal. And that's the whole truth.
But does that have to be expressed?
What is the meaning of the word subject without king? What is the meaning of king without subject?
It's like the how you say that, tegenstelling?
What is the meaning of sunshine without the sun? Yeah. So why? Because that's the way it is.
But when we hear about the Lord coming to the earth, on the earth, and displaying his pastimes, Mother Yashoda seems to be bigger than Krishna. So again, maybe I'm getting it all confused, but like the soul is very small and the Lord is infinitesimal. Infinite. I can accept that. But why does it have to?
Why are you? What are you saying? That Mother Yashoda looks bigger than Krishna.
Yeah.
So therefore, what are you comparing?
Why does the soul beast have to be 1/10,000th tip of the point of a hair?
Can it expand and contract?
Oh, why is it made so small?
It's small while it's in the material world.
Well, why? Why can't we be big soul like the body?
That's the spiritual world. Because you're in the material world. You're asking me why is the material energy, why does it act the way it does?
Mm-hmm.
Because you wanted to come here. And you wanted to pretend that you could be Krishna or Radha or both or whatever. And therefore Krishna is giving you this lovely arrangement for you to try to do that.
But it has to be in a mini form as a
Oh
soul.
no, the original state of the soul is a full-blown form in the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
Is a spiritual body with the same attributes and the same as Krishna.
So is it like part of the punishment of being here? Then?
Yes, of course.
That we're so small?
Of course. Because you have to be attracted to the material energy. So we're small, we're atomized when we come into the material world, so we can be overwhelmed with the material energy.
Oh.
Because if you were overwhelmed with the material energy,
You would not be attracted.
you wouldn't be able to be attracted and do all the things that you think you can do in the material world.
Okay. So it's like a constant state of overpowerment by the material energy.
Yeah. And depending on the body that soul goes into, then it has more capacity or less capacity to it.
Okay, one more. I'm out on a limb tonight. Last one. So is that also then that if we make advancement, is our soul then growing also?
Eventually,
But like even
eventually
in
the soul, when it's uncovered,
mm-hmm.
and when it's not covered by the material energy, then it and goes to the spiritual world, then it expands into its original state.
But like you sometimes or often say, as we hear these books, our consciousness...
Brahma-bhuta prasanatma, nachochati nakangshati. There's a difference between jivatma and jivatma and what's the other word? There's jivatma when the soul's in the material world. Huh?
Paramatma?
No. Oh, God, you
Sorry.
never, ever put the Paramatma and the Jivatma in the same sentence together as if they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
No. When the soul is in... Mukta. Thank you very much. Jivan Mukta. When the soul is outside the material world, is liberated, then the full qualities of the soul become manifest.
But it's not that as we are on our way making advancement that the soul also kind of grows. Even
no, it's not a matter of
material
grows.
body.
It's not a matter of grows
No.
while you're in the material world,
Mm-hmm.
but it becomes manifest
Mm-hmm.
inside the body. Because you're thinking in material form, you're thinking in material concepts.
Yeah.
That's
I
the problem.
suppose so. Yeah.
It's material conceptions that keep us in the
material world.
Yeah. And stop us from understanding things properly.
Mm-hmm. I liked the point you made that so we can be attracted to the material energy, which is otherwise would not be attractive for a spiritual being.
Yeah.
I learned something.
Yes.
There. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay,
That's
I have an appointment 4 minutes ago, so I've got to go. Thank you very much for that lovely, reflective session. And thanks all of you for being here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 seekers, spiritual seekers here. I'm so lucky to be able to associate with all of you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Tomorrow being Monday, we'll be back here in the live studios at 6 o'clock Central Time, USA. Hare Krishna. See you then, and we'll hear more about Krishna.